G'day, it's Pat from Shem Productions, and today I'll be taking you through the production work I did on the song Two With You by Son of Jack. Alright, let's quickly check the song out. So this is Jackson Smith, Smitty. His first release as a solo artist. He's got that other song there, that he did with another Coolum local legend, Kale Whip. And I'm really stoked to have helped him bring this track to life. So Smitty came to me, well, first he messaged me, and then he came to me with this song and an acoustic guitar and played it for me one night here in the Shen. Him and Kale came along and we jammed out and started putting the song together right there and then on the spot. And I was stoked Smitty came to me because him and I used to play footy together, won a couple of premierships back in the day, called them Colts reserve grade, and we taught together at some stage at Coolum Primary School. So I've had a bit to do with Smitty over the years, and he chose me to produce his first solo track, so thanks for that, Smitty. So yeah, as I said, we started off jamming. I was on the electric drum kit, not that one, the other one. And he played the song for me and I jammed out and found a bit of a groove that he liked. From there, I used Easy Drummer, this plug-in here, to program the drums. Wrote them all out on a grid. And then we laid down the bass and the guitar parts from there. So within Easy Drummer, I was able to send each instrument out its own channel at the bottom here, which means that within Pro Tools, I can mix each channel the way I like and keep them all separate from each other. So let's listen to the drums to start with. Actually, we'll just go to a chorus. Let's check out the chorus with everything. We'll loop the chorus. So yeah, we've got an indie rock, surf rock song. Big punchy wall of sound. So here's the drums. The bass. Nice, fat, meaty bass. We've got the guitars. And we've got some effects, but they happen before the chorus. Just a riser, sneaky little riser there, and then within the chorus we've got our vocals. Two of you break it through, feel it all. Can't you see it's meant to be? Later on in the song, we got some gang vocals and some harmonies. Here are the harmonies in the breakdown. I'll be with you to forever. Should call them background vocals. They're not really harmonies. I'll be with you to forever. I'll be with you to forever. I'll be with you to forever. And then some gang vocals that come in here. Two of you break it through, feel it all. Alright, so let's check out each instrument on its own, starting with the drums. And we'll play through the song from verse 2. So we've got the kick drum. Oh, we've got the kick drum. I am using the SSL channel strip, followed by a decapitator. Let's see what it sounds like on and off. Turn the channel strip off. Not as much attack. And decapitator. So yeah, as it says, attitude, just giving a little bit of grit. The thing we've got to remember with using completely written MIDI drums is the samples usually, if using a good library, sound really good straight off the bat. The snare top, we got again SSL channel without. Just more snap. Decapitator. That thickens it right up. Hi-hats. Not processing them at all. Sample sounds great. Toms. Breakdown's got toms. Let's have a look at the drum kit to see this fill part that's actually played. As a guitarist, that's about as good as a drum or a tom part that I'm going to be able to write. I think it sounds pretty good for the part though. Here are the toms. So with the SSL channel, looks like here, yeah, I was cutting out a whole heap of about 800 hertz because it was sounding quite honky. Sounds like paper. And then some decapitator just to saturate the drums. Overheads sound awesome on this kit. Got them turned up quite loud in the mix. Room mic. Sick. Shaker and a tambourine in the final chorus only. They've got their own overhead mic. I use reverb that I'm sending the room mic overheads, a little bit of the overheads. I've got their send turned down to about -10. The toms and the snare are going, and the kick, no, just the toms and the snare going to that drum room. Let's hear it without that. So in the mix, adds a big sense of size and grandeur to the drums by putting that reverb on. And there's also some parallel compression being applied to our toms, snare and kick. That's our drum sound. And there's a SSL bus compressor just on the drum bus, tightening it up. That's off and on. The drum sound. Moving on to the bass. So we recorded the bass DI with this Squier bass. We used this cheap Squier P bass, 50s replica. Just recorded a DI signal that sounds like this. Ran it through a Pro Tools stock Sans amp plugin. Added a whole bunch of drive and low end with the SSL channel strip. Just applied a little bit of compression. Again, took some of the nasty low end out. This is a sidechain compressor that is being activated when the kick drum plays. We follow the bass. We can see that compression occurring to the bass track every time the kick sounds, so it's just not competing with the low frequencies down there. Our bass. On a parallel compression bus for the bass, I've got Soundtoys radiator plugin. Absolutely cranking the input on it. Let's hear that turned up to exaggerate the sound. This adds a whole lot of roundness and warmth to the bass tone overall, and then heavy amount of compression using an 1176. But without the parallel compression, there it is. And without, haven't got it turned up very loud. Just a taste with the song. Bass guitar, move on to the guitars. So as I said at the beginning, Jackson just had an acoustic guitar arrangement that he'd written, and he wanted to produce it into a full-on rock song. Had Full Nelson as a reference track, as well as a few other Aussie bands. I think Skeggs was mentioned. And we started by recording some electric guitars. I believe these were the original take. We were plugged into my Fender Hot Rod Deluxe using a Telecaster and a Tube Screamer. I think that's the first original recording that we did. It was intended to be a scratch take that we were going to overdub later. And I just kept it in there as a layer because it sounded pretty good. These are the redone guitars. When they're blended together, adds a bit of fuzz and distortion. Sounds nice. So for the retracked guitars, I used Guitar Rig. I'm using a Fender Twin Reverb. They sound like they were tracked with the Tube Screamer pedal turned on before they went into the plug-in. Then they've got a pretty dramatic EQ curve. So without that, it sounds like mud. And then some compression, keeping it all tucked in. For the chorus parts, we doubled the guitars. It's very low volume. And the idea behind this one was just to have a different distortion. So I'm using the Guitar Rig Cat, which is just a rat distortion pedal. It's got a little bit more low end, this guitar track. Makes a big difference when it's just those two. But when the main rhythms come in, they take front stage. So throughout the choruses, there's actually 6 rhythm guitars going, just all with a different sound. In the chorus, we have these little lead extra parts that are recorded. Let's turn these guys off. These are just octave chords. And they're following the root note of the guitar chords. Before we hit the chorus, though, we have this lead guitar part. Now, both verses are at the halfway mark. I sort of said to Jacko, we need to add something else in here, just to keep it interesting. So we came up with this lead part. I think I played this. It is alright to make it true. Then the first verse, that's going to be in your left ear, and in the second, it's in your right. After the chorus, there's a really cool little lead line here that Jacko wrote. if I remember correctly, we had the song structure in place, rhythm guitars, bass, drums, and a scratch vocal done. And Jacko sort of said, I want to add some lead parts. Do you have any ideas? What should we do? And I said, all righto, you're in the key. Do you know what key you're in? And he was sort of like, oh, yeah, I think it's F sharp, minor, or maybe A. Said, yep, doesn't matter. Do you know your pentatonic scale? He said, yeah, is it this one? I said, that's the one. So start that on the 2nd fret. Let's just start there. I'm going to keep doing my thing, mixing a few instruments, and you see what you can come up with. I think it would have been maybe 5-10 minutes. And he said, all right, I've got something. Can we lay it down? And this was probably, I guess, I don't know, one, maybe first, second take. Nothing fancy, but it fits the part perfectly. Sick. So let's have a look at that part. That's the raw DI, so it's obviously got my big muff pedal turned on and I think a chorus pedal. Going into a Marshall Silver Jubilee head. This EQ's taking out a whole bunch of mud, boosting some presence. And then we've got a compressor, the Renaissance Axe. It's a designated guitar compressor and it just does what you want it to. After chorus 2 and going into the breakdown, there are some more lead parts. I think I played these ones. We got the same. They're just sounds like a Tube Screamer DI into the Marshall. Into this stock chorus vibrato plug-in with a heavy EQ. Turn that off. Okay, yep. Mud galore. And also clipping. That's really sitting it where it needs to be. That's supposed to be just an ambient texture there. Another lead guitar at the end of the breakdown. That's got the exact same tone as the first lead break, except I believe we recorded this with a delay, hard printed. Yeah, so there's a delay on there too. And then there's a melody here. Just following the chords. Let's mute the vocals and just have a quick listen to all those layers through the 3rd and final chorus. Drums, bass, rhythm guitars, lead guitar, just guitars, with bass, now the drums. Have a quick look at the vocals. Go from the last chorus. So lead vocal. You break it through and feel it all. Can't you see? It's meant to be. You break it through and feel it all. So there it is, dry. Actually, I've got some stuff on the vocal bus. We'll turn that off. You break it through and feel it all. Started with an SSL channel. You break it through and feel it all. I actually pulled out a lot of high end. Can't you see? Looking back right now, not sure why. I think it was just a bit of a harsh vocal. His voice was sitting in a register that wasn't really agreeing with my ear. So that's the tone shaping, which goes into a compressor. I use the 76 first just to catch the peaks of a vocal. Then we've got a CLA 2A compressor. This one's keeping the vocal really consistent with much more gain reduction. And then finally, the capitator, finishing it off with some saturation. So, without any of it. Do you break it through, feel it all? Can't you see? It's meant to be. So there we have the plugins on the track. You look at me the same. The lead. Yeah. Then in the vocal bass, I was actually adding a bit of the high end back. This EQ, just adding some air and presence up the top. Do you break it through, feel it all? Compressor on this bus because there's so many tracks going into it. It's meant to be. And then soften, which just tames some of the harshness and the S's. Oh yeah. Can't you see? It's meant to be. And in terms of effects, we've got reverb. Do you break it through, feel it all? LX480, which is a Lexicon remake. Just on a room setting, 1.27 seconds with a decent pre-delay and a slap delay. Can't you see? It's meant to be. And because I'm doubling the lead vocal, that slap delay, because it's a stereo delay, it helps to sort of glue everything together. If we listen to the lead and the double with the reverb on. You break it through, feel it all. We've got identical vocals, panned out left and right. It's meant to be. And once the slap comes on the lead, that way you look at me the same. Oh yeah. Sort of glues it all together because that lead's getting a slap in both ears. You break it through, feel it all. Can't you see? It's meant to be. That way, you look at me the same. Oh yeah. In the breakdown, we've got some background vocals. And I'll be with you too forever. These guys have got a really, not really long, but a much longer compared to the lead. 2.27 second reverb. And they're being sent pre-fader. So what that means is I can keep the volume levels down and turn the send all the way up to the reverb. So that the full signal's being sent to the reverb track, which is having a slight boost in volume. So we get a really washed out sound with not much clarity on the background vocals. As a comparison, that's without the reverb. They sit pretty nicely in the background, I think. Without them. And then when the final chorus hits, we get these gang vocals. So what this is just duplicates of the lead vocal line. We had a large diaphragm condenser in the middle of the room, set on omnidirectional, and myself, Jackson, and Kale stood in different areas of the room and basically sung the lyrics, and we did that 4 times over. So we get this sense of 12 people singing the same lyric line. That was the most logical way for me to produce the gang vocal sound without actually having a big crew of people here. Each one's being EQ'd, just shaving off the low end. All these tracks are the same. They're going into their own stereo bus with compressor on it. And a reverb. Can't you see? It's meant to be. On the mix bus, we've got this Abbey Road mastering chain on the glue and punch preset. I always use that and then just use it as a starting point and tweak some of the settings, EQ and then compression to suit what it needs. This is without. Really opens the track up and lets it breathe. I'll often dial in my levels and my panning and fix a few sort of EQ issues, and then I'll put that straight on the master bus and mix into it. And that's being followed by a limiter, which is just making it loud enough for streaming, which would usually be up here. So thanks for watching. That is the production of Two With You by Son of Jack. I won't bore you with the automation that I wrote in for the final mix, but that's all the instruments and the vocals and what I had on the master chain. If you enjoyed this video, please chuck us a like and subscribe. Leave me a comment below what you liked and stay tuned for more. Cheers.